All right, everyone, the time is now 2 p.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the State Expedited Accusations calendar. This calendar is for those individuals who have been recently arrested, but the cases have already been formally accused and bound over to state court. All defendants, you have the absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. When I ask if you understand your rights, those are the rights to which I am referring. All participants, this particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It is also being recorded. That, excuse me, that means any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. All right, have all members of the Public Defender's Office had the opportunity to interview their clients?
Your Honor, I haven't had the chance to speak to Miss Regina Curry. I believe she was a reset from yesterday.
She was.
All right, is Ms. Curry at courtroom tour, or is she gonna be at South Annex?
South Annex.
Okay, hopefully South Annex will join us shortly, Ms. Thomas. And then I'll ask.
Otherwise, I'm ready to proceed with whatever case.
All right, thank you. Who do we have first?
This is position 7, Mr. Davis.
All right.
I'm
Good
sorry.
Mr. Grant, is that position 7?
No,
Position 5.
5.
All right, thank you. Mr. Davis, your case is 23 CR 001177F. And in this case, you're charged with driving and striking an unattended vehicle at the offense date of October the 24th of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have his history, please?
17 total. He got an open case in state court, sent for battery DV, on probation, hijacking a motor vehicle, armed robbery, ag assault, possession of a firearm during the commission, possession by a convicted felon. It's 18 SC 161904. Got an 2016 simple assault, 2012 given false name. That's it.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Lewis, if you please proceed with your recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. This incident occurred on October 24th, 2022 at 3804 MLK Drive Junior, which is the Crystal Townhomes. Officers responded to a report of vehicle damage made by Ms. June Mays. Mays stated that a white vehicle backed into a parking spot next to her vehicle, and she noticed that the vehicle was extremely close to hers. Mays stated that later on in the day, she discovered scratches and scuff marks on the same side of her vehicle that the white car was parked on. The officer then reviewed the footage from the date of incident at the Crystal Townhomes and spoke with the leasing manager, Ms. Sadia Young, who was able to identify Davis because he used to work at the property. In this video footage, you can see the collision of Mr. Davis in the white vehicle hitting Ms. May's car. Officers, Ms. Young stated that the vehicle belonged to an ex-tenant who lived there, Ms. Janelle Horton. Officers called Ms. Horton and stated that Davis did drive her vehicle. And then once officers spoke to Mr. Davis, he admitted to being the driver of the vehicle at the time of the collision. Your Honor, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving unless his driver's license is valid. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I get into the bond and the warrant, Mr. Davis did apply and qualify for our services, so our office will be representing him in the future. Your Honor, I just want to put that on the record. Mr. Davis is presently facing a felony upgrade for his DV battery charge. I'm not sure if Mr. Davis has been given a bond in that case. However, Your Honor, I am asking for a signature bond for this misdemeanor offense. It is a nonviolent offense. Mr. Davis is 32 years of age. He is a lifelong Georgia resident. He has family, his immediate family residing here. He's also a proud father of 4 children, all ages 14, 13, 7, and 6 months. Mr. Davis also completed high school, and he told me that he is presently employed. He is a floor tech at Emory University. He's been working there for the past 6 months, and he roughly makes about $500 a week. Mr. Davis is asking that he be given a signature bond on this nonviolent offense, Your Honor, or in the alternative, a bond no more than $500 if he's not eligible for a signature bond.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Defendant will receive a $500 surety bond. He is to not drive unless he has a valid license. Ms. Bridgewater, what is my SAP reset date?
March the 14th.
All right, Mr. Davis's case will be reset to state all purpose on March 14th, whereby this case can be revisited. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything
you.
further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Davis. Who do we have next?
I'm sorry. Position 9, Ms. Lasker.
All right, good afternoon, Ms. Laster. Your case is 23 CR 001171F. In this case, you're charged with theft by shoplifting with the offense date of February the 4th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hart, can I have her history?
This is our 9th arrest. 2011 simple battery theft by taking conviction. 2017 shoplifting conviction. She got an open battery in state court. 22 CR 008398F. That's a pretrial case, I think. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is going to be requesting a $1,500 surety in this case, given that this defendant does have 2 prior theft convictions and an open case with our office as recent as 2022. And this incident occurred on February 4th at the Dollar General located at 2750 Donnelly Hollowell Parkway Northwest. The defendant is seen on video surveillance taking Tide laundry products without paying for them. They were approximately $86 in value. She was positively identified from the surveillance footage using her driver's license photo. Given the risk of reoffense, we think our recommendation is more than reasonable under the circumstances. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Duncan. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Lester is 30 years old and she has a job that started about a week ago. She really needs to keep her job. She works at Grady Hospital as a patient host. She's a single mom of 3 young children, 6, 10, and 11 years old, who currently her friend is taken care of. However, she does not have any other relatives to take care of those children. So she has to go back and take care of the children. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond. This was not a violence case, so I think it is okay for her to get a signature on bond through jail. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim. At this time, defendant will receive a $1,000 surety bond. She's to not return to the Dollar General on Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, and she's moreover to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further from the state.
All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Position 12, Ms. Troutman.
All right, good afternoon, Ms. Troutman. Your case is 23 CR 001175A. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of February the 28th. Do you understand your right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
15 total. Got an open case, battery DV. It was out of East Point. Open ag assault, 21 CP 197909. 22 CP 207944. 2020 suspended license given false name, no low. 2015, I see a battery arrest. 2014, simple battery disorderly conduct. Furnishing alcohol, that was a conviction. And 2014 shoplifting, simple assault conviction. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, I don't know if I heard pretrial say this defendant has 2 open aggravated assaults in Superior Court and an FTA from September of 2022 out of Clayton. We have concerns in this case about this defendant's risk of reoffending, her flight risks, and the fact that we believe that this defendant is not likely to positively respond to the legal process. In this incident, we're requesting a $1,500 surety, which is an increase from the $1,000 surety that's currently set. The incident did take place on February 28th at 1940 Fisher Road. The defendant was at this location after being told on several occasions not to return to this location. The victim in this case is Michael Witherspoon. Michael, common spelling, last name Witherspoon. We did make contact with Mr. Witherspoon today. He stated that he is the director of Caring Works Incorporated and that he believes that the defendant has a boyfriend at the location who lives in one of the apartments she visits, but always seems to be under the influence of something. She's been giving criminal trespass warnings several times due to damaging property and is not supposed to be on the property. He would like her to stay away from that apartment complex located at the incident location on the record. She has 2 open aggravated assaults. She's currently out on $15,000 worth of good bonds, one from Judge Manning from February 27, 2021, and one from Judge Oliver, April 2022. The victim in those 2 cases are different and they are not the same victim as this case. However, we do have the victim from this case online if Your Honor would like to sound. But given this defendant's history, we're requesting that $1,500 surety. No further contact with Michael Witherspoon, to stay away from the incident location as previously directed. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law.
To clarify, Ms. Duncan, she's charged with criminal trespass, correct?
Yes.
And the victim here would testify in the state's opinion just to the fact that she was present on the site?
Yes, it's his property, and he will testify that she has been told on a previous occasion at least once not to be there because she has damaged property in the past.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Troutman is 28 years old. She was born and raised here in Georgia. She's a single mother of 4 children, 5, 6, 3, and 10 years old. And actually today is the 10 years old boy's birthday, Your Honor. So she's very sad that she cannot be there for him. She works as a clerk at People Ready Company. And Your Honor, she completed GED successfully, and she's not going to be qualified for our public defender's services unless her financial circumstances changes. And we would like to request for a signature on bond for this criminal trespass. Thank you.
And the state would just like to clarify very briefly that we're not sure who this defendant goes to that property to visit, but Mr. Witherspoon is the owner of that property, if Your Honor would allow him to speak.
I'll hear. Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
I'm sorry, I apologize, but that is those kids' father's place. And she does not reside there, Your Honor. So no further contact, stay away is totally okay with her.
All right. Mr. Witherspoon, if you'd like to make a very brief statement at this time, the court will hear from you. You're not required to. Do you wish to make a statement?
Yes, ma'am.
I need you to turn on your camera so I can place you in the oath.
Yes, ma'am. It's on.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. I think I have a good grasp on what the allegations are against Ms. Troutman, but if you would like to very briefly tell me something else, I'll hear from you. What would you like to tell me at this time?
Well, Ms. Troutman is on the property. Well, first of all, the person's house she's at is a client and I cannot confirm or deny much of anything because of his confidentiality. But from my knowledge, Ms. Troutman is on our property daily. And we try to call, the security has, excuse my terminology, put the criminal trespassing document on her. And when we call the police, of course, the Atlanta PD is busy, and sometimes they can make it and sometimes they can't. But we just got lucky last night and they were able to show up. We have, to serve the warrant for her trespassing, I have 5 incidents reports where she's constantly damaging our apartment. She appears to be drinking or under some influence of some chemicals or alcohol daily. I mean, this is where I work.
Your Honor,
This
we're
is
gonna
where
have to
my
object
office
to that
is.
testimony. It's speculative.
Yeah, it is speculative. I'm
So
sorry.
And he's.
So
whether or
anyway,
not she's intoxicated or not, Your Honor.
And
Everyone stop. Everyone stop. Continue very briefly, Mr.
yeah,
Witherspoon. I do not
yes.
want to hear your guesses about her state of mind.
Right.
All right. Go
Correct.
ahead.
That's cool. So, so that's all I'm concerned about is she damages our property.
Okay.
And I have 5 reports in my hand that she kicks doors in, she busts out windows, she assaults my client. My client has, I've got pictures of my client, bruises and lacerations, and that's what it appears to be. I just don't want her on the property, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Witherspoon. I appreciate you making that statement. It sounds to me as if Mr. Witherspoon might be named as the incorrect victim here. However, we'll go at the state's charges as indicated here. At this time, defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. She's to have absolutely no contact with Mr. Witherspoon. She's to stay away from the address on Fisher Road. That means within 1,000 yards of that address. She must stay away. She's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond, and she will be reset to state off purpose on the 14th. Is there anything further?
nothing further from the state.
All right. Best of luck to you, ma'am. I do hear some additional issues here, so perhaps the state should dig in further. All right. Who do we have next?
Position 1, Mr. Brown.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Brown. Your case is 23 CR 001169C. In this case, you're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of August the 20th of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
No,
Is that a yes?
no, I apologize.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
6 total. I got an open battery. What is it? Simple battery family violence in Gwinnett. Theft by taken. 2019 battery DV, first offender. 2022 theft by taken conviction. Yeah, so he got open simple battery, simple assault, simple battery DV, battery. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on August 20th, 2022 at 1093 Mason Turner Road, now Northwest, Officers responded to this location and met with Miss Kiera Nash. Her name is spelled Kiera Nash. And Miss Nash stated that Brown, who is her child's father, punched her after a dispute. Your Honor, this defendant has a history of violence towards women, but specifically to this victim, he is currently wanted out of Gwinnett County on a battery family violence charge for this victim. And for this reason, the state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond to stay away from this location, no further contact with Ms. Nash, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Nash, I'm sounding for you at this time. If you're present and wish to make a statement. All right, seeing and hearing none. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brown did apply for our services. He is presently overqualified, and we will not be able to further represent him unless he remains in custody or loses employment. As it pertains to the warrant, Mr. Brown did express that he is denying these allegations. He said these allegations are false. He said during that time frame he would have been in custody and that he wasn't released out of custody until around September, October. Mr. Brown is 23 years of age. He has been a lifelong Georgia resident. His family resides here. He also is the father of 3 children, ages 6, 4, and 2. Mr. Brown completed high school and he is presently working at Chick-fil-A, where he has been working there for the past 4 months since he's been out of custody. Your Honor, we are asking for Mr. Brown a signature bond. He does have a Gwinnett County hold. He did express to me that that was a probation hold. However, Mr. Brown is going to need to get to Gwinnett to figure out what that matter is pertaining to, whether it is a warrant or actual probation hold, as he expressed to me. If Mr. Brown is ineligible for that signature bond to go to Gwinnett, then we would be asking for a bond no more than $1,000 at this time.
All right,
Oh,
thank you.
as far as, sorry, Your Honor, as far as the 1093 Mason Turner, Mr. Brown did express that that is his mother's address. Miss Nash does not reside with Mr. Brown and does not reside at that address. He said he's had no contact with her and does not have an issue with a no contact order.
All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Brown will receive a $3,000 surety bond. He's to have absolutely no contact with Ms. Nash. He is to stay away from the address on Mason Turner Road should it be found that the alleged victim resides there. He can return one time with law enforcement to make that determination. If it is found that she does not live there, he can return to that location. Otherwise, he must stay away. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the
Nothing
state, Your
further,
Honor.
Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 2 and 3. Mr. Bryant.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Bryant. Your case is 23 CR 001173A. In this case, you're charged with 1 count of obstruction, 1 count of simple assault, 1 count of simple battery, and 1 count of criminal trespass with the offense dates of June the 1st of 2022. You understand your rights? Mr. Howard, can I have the history?
His 10th arrest. He got an open case in state court for DUI, reckless driving, possession of open alcohol. It's 21 CR 001-270A. 2013 simple assault, disorderly conduct conviction. 2016 battery conviction. 2021 simple battery against police, obstruction, and that was DWAP. That's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 1st, 2022 at 5510 Sturbridge Way. Officers responded to a fight call at this location, and upon arrival, they observed Mr. Bryant and Marcus Montclair, his last name is Mauclair, in a physical altercation. Officers observed Bryant pushing and grabbing Montclair. And after the officer drew his taser, Bryant was still close to Montclair, not backing away. At this point, officers separated the two and attempted to detain Bryant. Bryant began pulling away and resisting the officer. After several more verbal commands by the officer to Bryant, Bryant fled on foot from the garage area where he was tased and then tackled down. After this time, officer was able to speak with Mr. Montclair to figure out exactly what happened. Montclair stated that Bryant has been harassing him since they broke up in 2021. On this particular date, Bryant came over to Montclair's home and began banging on the door and throwing rocks at the door. Montclair's current boyfriend, who is Evan Hickson, arrived, which made Bryant more upset. And at this point, Bryant charged at Hickson, attempting to fight him, but Montclair intervened, which is when Montclair and Bryant's scuffle began. Your Honor, the state is recommending a $3,500 surety bond. That's $1,000 for counts 1 through 3 and $500 for count 4. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away from this location, and no further contact with either Montclair or Evan Hickson. Nothing further.
To clarify, is he also position 3?
Yes, Your Honor. You want me to go ahead and give
Yeah,
those
let's
back
go
to
ahead
you?
and do that one too. And Mr. Bryant, you're also here for case 23 CR 001174A, in which you're charged with obstruction on the offense date of February the 26th. All right, please proceed as to that case, Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred at 351 Howell Drive. Officers responded to damaged property call at this location and met with Bryant and his aunt. Just for the court's notice, the warrant does not list the aunt's name, but Bryant's aunt explained that she locked her nephew, who was Bryant, out because he was acting irate, and as a result, Bryant knocked hard on the front window, causing parts of the window to shatter. Officers arrived and explained to Bryant's aunt that he could not charge him with that because Bryant, in fact, lives there. But once officers ran Bryant's license, they discovered he had multiple active warrants out of South Fulton. Officers explained to him that he would need to be detained, but Bryant tensed up his arm as the officers attempted to grab him. Officers finally were able to detain Bryant, but he did not go willingly, and he had to be dragged to the patrol car. Excuse me. For this case, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond for the obstruction and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
And will you also give me the recommendations financially for position 2 as well? One more time, Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. It's a $3,500 total surety bond. That's $1,000 for counts 1, 2, and 3, and $500 for count 4, making a total of $3,500.
All right, thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Sorry about that, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Bryant is overqualified, so the same announcement for him will be unable to represent him unless he remains in custody or loses his employment. Mr. Bryant is 33 years of age. As far as the, let's see, what position and case number is that? 1 second. Position 2. For that case, 1173A, we are going to deny the allegations at this time. Mr. Bryant says that he does not have any contact with Mr. Montclair or Mr. Hickson, so a no contact order would be appropriate. He has no opposition to that. He does not reside at that address. And then as far as position 3, Your Honor, we're asking for no further violent contact with the aunt. He does not reside at that address any longer. He does presently live in Alpharetta at his mother's address. Again, Mr. Bryant is 33 years of age. He's been a lifelong Georgia resident. All of his family resides here. Mr. Bryant completed some college at UGA. He's presently employed as a prep cook at Olive Garden, where he's been working for the past 3 months. He did express to me that he does not have any outside financial assistance. He does have a really good job. He was presently given a good opportunity to upgrade his employment to a manager position. Mr. Bryant expressed that he really would like for the court to grant him a signature bond so that he'll be able to get out and keep his employment. Mr. Bryant is currently working on obtaining his own place. He's been trying to get his own apartment, and he fears that he will be no longer able to do so if he's remaining in custody and loses his employment. Currently, he does have a $4,000 surety bond on 4 of the counts, except for 1. I would be asking for the court to reduce the current bond amount to a bond of $500 per count for both cases, Your Honor, if he is not entitled to a signature bond.
All right, I'm going to sound for Mr. Montclair or Mr. Hickson at this time. All right, hearing and seeing none. On case ending in 1173A, the breakdown will be as follows. It'll be a $500 surety bond, count 1, $1,000 surety, count 2, $1,000 surety, count 3, and $500 surety, count 4. That should equal a total of a $3,000 surety bond. He is to have no contact with either of the alleged victims and stay away from the incident location, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. As it pertains to position number 3, ending in 1174A, defendant will receive a $500 surety bond, and he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 6, Mr. Gordon.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Gordon. Your case is 23 CR 001168H. You're charged with battery of family violence and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree with the offense date of October the 16th of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
7 total. 2010 DUI dismissed. He was arrested in 04 and 08 for violence. That was dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred on October 16th at 375 14th Street, which is Spice Restaurant. Officers spoke with Angel Lewis at the Atlanta Public Safety Headquarters, who reported 2 separate incidences of domestic violence by Mr. Gordon, who she shares a child with. Lewis stated that Gordon slapped her in the face while they were at dinner at Spice House Restaurant, and Lewis suffered bruising to her face. Lewis's 14-year-old daughter, who is Aviance, and that's Aviance, McCollins, was also present at the table when Gordon slapped Ms. Lewis. Lewis stated that Gordon also pushed her while in the bedroom of his apartment, which is located at 250 Park Avenue West, causing bruising to her leg. It's to note that Lewis lives in Memphis, so we won't actually be issuing a stay away order for either of the addresses in the warrant. The state is recommending a $4,000 surety bond. That's $3,000 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. No further contact with Ms. Lewis, and to stay away wherever she resides. The state wasn't able to speak with Ms. Lewis this morning, so I do not have an address for her. I'm also not sure if she's on the line, but if so, we'd like to sound for her at the appropriate time.
All right, I'll sound for Ms. Lewis at this time. If Ms. Angel Lewis is present on the Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. I don't see Ms. Lewis on the line, so we will go to you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Gordon does qualify for our services, so we will be representing him. Mr. Gordon did express to me he is denying these allegations. I think it's important to note that Ms. Lewis made these allegations in December of 2 incident dates, I believe 2 months after the fact. He said was not aware of these allegations at the time, and that he and Ms. Lewis were engaged until she stopped communicating with her when he refused to give her some money. Mr. Gordon is 56 years of age. He's been a Georgia resident all of his life. His immediate family is here. He's a proud father of 4 children, a 20-year-old, a 15-year-old, and the 4-year-old child that he shares with Ms. Lewis. As the state mentioned, Ms. Lewis does reside in Memphis, Tennessee. Mr. Gordon presently lives in Georgia. He lives at 250 Park Avenue West. He also expressed to me that he completed college. He attended Morehouse, if I'm correct. Mr. Gordon also expressed to me that he's currently self-employed. He previously worked at AT&T back and stopped working there in 91. He's been self-employed marketer, marketing other people's products. And he said he's had a good 20 or 30 years working for himself. However, since COVID, his business has dropped tremendously, and he's been trying to get back up and going. He did express that he is financially strained at the moment. So we are asking for a signature bond. As we heard from pretrial, Mr. Gordon's history dates back over 10, 20 years. And we also heard that he has no violent convictions or any recent violent history or any recent criminal history at all. So for those reasons, Your Honor, we are asking for a signature bond, or in the alternative, a bond no more than $1,000.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant will receive a $4,000 signature bond per judge through pretrial services. The breakdown will be as follows: 3,000, count 1, 1,000, count 2. He's to have no contact whatsoever with Ms. Lewis and stay away from wherever she resides. He's to take the 1-day anger awareness course and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Who
That's
is this
right.
for?
I'm sorry.
This is
Mr.
for who?
Howard. Mr. Gordon, per judge.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Gordon. Who do we have next?
Position 7, Mr. Grant.
All right, Mr. Grant, your case is 23 CR 001176J. In this case, you're charged with simple battery, family violence with the offense date of December the 20th of 2021. You understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard, can I please have the history?
You said Grant, 4th arrest. He got history out of Alabama. 2020, it says traffic offense harassment DV. 2019 FTA harassment DV. 2018 theft by receiving and eluding police. That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on December 20th, 2021 at 178 Maury Avenue Southwest. Officers responded to reports of a domestic dispute at this location and met with Shamik, that's spelled Shemique, Palmer. Ms. Palmer stated that she was arriving back at her home, and upon parking, she saw Grant, who is her ex-boyfriend, near her vehicle. Palmer got out of the car and told Grant that he needed to leave. They had recently broken up and they were living together prior. Palmer stated that Grant then slapped her in the face and then seemingly walked away. But as Ms. Palmer was walking up the stairs to her apartment, Grant appeared again and spit on her face and jacket when she again told him to leave. Your Honor, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond to stay away from this location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further contact with Ms. Palmer. I'm not sure if Ms. Palmer is on the line, but we'd like to sound for the appropriate time.
All right, I'll sound for Ms. Palmer now. Ms. Palmer, if you are present on the Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Grant, is 36 years old, and he was arrested on last Friday, about 5 days ago, in Clinton County for this particular issue. And then he was transferred yesterday to Fulton County. So I believe this is, it could be a Riverside issue if there was nothing else that was holding in Clinton County, but I could not verify that part yet. Your Honor, he was born and raised here in Georgia. He was a little bit away, but he has been here for a long, long time. He resides with his mother and grandmother, and he does not live with ex-girlfriend. Actually, that is complaining witness. There was no contact whatsoever. They don't live together. They have no children together. So my client has no objection to stay away or no further contact. And then my client was proactive about this warrant. He wanted to resolve this because he found it out when he was getting passport. And Your Honor, he has his own business as a truck driver, which is registered here in Georgia, GMF Logistics. He has an associate degree, and he has his family members residing here in Georgia. And we would like to request for a signature on bond, or if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 bond. Thank you.
Right, thank you. I just want to clarify, he was booked in to the Fulton County Jail 2 days ago, is what you said, Ms. Kim?
Yesterday, actually, he was booked in here in Fulton County for
Yesterday.
20 yesterday.
Okay. All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond. He is to have no contact whatsoever with Ms. Shamik Palmer. He is to stay away from the incident location and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Grant. What do we have next?
Your Honor, can we go back to position 1, Mr. Brown? I have an extra charge for him on his 3 card, cruelty to children 3rd degree.
Is that still a charge, Ms. Lewis?
No, Your Honor, we NOD'd that this morning.
Okay, so has the NOD already been submitted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that charge has been dismissed.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
We have position 8, Mr. Harrison.
All right, Mr. Harrison, your case is 23 CR 001170G. In this case, you're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of February the 28th. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have his history, please?
Harrison, 9th arrest, 2017 suspended license. He don't have any violent convictions that I saw.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Your Honor, in this case, I just want to state for the record first that we're going to be sending this case for consideration for a felony upgrade, given the information we received after this case was filed down this morning. The victim in this case is Ashley Killebrew. That's Ashley common spelling Killebrew. And in this case, it did occur on February 28th at 1100 Hammond Drive, which was the Publix parking lot. Officers were dispatched to that location and they met with the victim in this case. And they observed two parties standing outside of a vehicle and two other females. There were two independent, non-involved witnesses to this incident, and the victim indicated to officers that the defendant, who was her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend at the time, was in the car with her on the driver's side while she was driving. He had mentioned to her that he was going to get strippers for a friend's party, and Miss Ashley stated that she did put her middle finger up at the defendant, and because she put her middle finger up at him, he grabbed her with both hands by the neck while she was driving, pushed her head back into the headrest, and began to place her in a chokehold. She stated to our victim advocate this morning that she had pressure behind her eyes, could not breathe, and in fact could not even stop the car during this attack by the defendant. She also indicated to our victim advocate that she is pregnant at this time with the defendant's child. There were two independent witnesses. First, Miss Wanda Walker, who was also in the parking lot. She stated to officers that she observed the defendant and Miss Ashley, and he was placing her in a headlock at that time. And she stated that she heard him say to her out loud that he would kill her. There was a second independent witness also in the parking lot, Miss Felicia Durham, who stated that she was in the car with several of her children, and she witnessed the incident and overheard her screaming and saw the altercation taking place. Miss Ashley also indicated to our office that they were in a parking lot in a moving car while this was occurring. She was attempting to scream, but she could not breathe, and she could not reach the horn to try to stop the car so that she wouldn't hit anybody. When we spoke to her earlier today, she said that they do have a prior domestic violence history in their relationship. She stated that she was afraid at that time because she could not reach the gas pedal, and she does not want any contact with the defendant. She has since left. She has a new address. She wants to keep that private. I will provide that to the court. Given that, Your Honor, the state is going to be requesting a $3,500 surety, no further contact with the victim in this case, name as stated on the record, no further contact with the child because she's still pregnant. Stay away from her current address, which I will provide to the court. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. While the state is aware of this defendant's limited history, given the egregious nature of the allegations in this case, the state believes that our recommendation is more than reasonable given the particular danger to this victim, given that they do currently share a child. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Let me first sound for Ms. Killebrew. I don't see her on the screen, but I will sound anyway. Ms. Killebrew, if you are present and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. All right, hearing none and seeing none, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Harrison is 53 years old, and Your Honor, he said that a complaining witness moved to Michigan yesterday. So they just ran into each other at the parking lot. He denies the allegation. They were ex-girlfriend and boyfriend, but they have been broken up for about a month. He has not seen her. It just kind of ran into each other. So we would like to request, he's totally fine with a stay away and no further contact. He currently is unemployed. He has been unemployed for about 3 to 4 weeks. Before that, he was doing DoorDash. He successfully graduated from high school. Our office will be continuously representing him since he's qualified for public defender services at this point. And Your Honor, He's been here for about 10 years, and we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, even though he had no violence history, we would like to request for a maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
My
right.
apologies, Your Honor. I did forget to state on the record that she indicated to us that she did have visible markings on her neck and was treated by medics on the scene. Nothing.
All right. Defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Killebrew, and he is to stay away from wherever she resides. He additionally is to have no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. And as a reminder, he will be reset to state all purpose on the 14th of March. Is there anything further?
Nothing
Nothing further.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 10, Mr. McKay.
All right, Mr. McKay, your case is 23 CR 001166F. In this case, you're charged with fleeing or attempting to elude an officer, driving with an expired plate or decal, and acquiring a plate for the purposes of concealing the identity of a motor vehicle with the offense date of November the 22nd of 2022. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Hart, can I have you please?
I got first arrest. This was
Okay.
SOB jail recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident did occur in November of 2022 on November 22nd, in the area of Cleveland Avenue. It's indicated in the warrant that officers were patrolling the area and they ran a plate of a car driven by the defendant, which was a silver Pontiac Grand Prix. And when they ran that plate, it actually came back registered to a black BMW. Upon that discovery, officers initiated a traffic stop, and they attempted to pull over the defendant in this case. He advised them at that time that he had recently purchased a car. So to follow up with their questioning, they asked did he have any paperwork for that car, and he provided the officers with what they described as an old registration slip for the vehicle. They also indicated that they could smell the odor of what they believed to be marijuana in the car. So at that time, they had asked the defendant to step out of the car, and instead of stepping out of the car, the defendant placed the car back in drive and sped away from the officers at a high rate of speed. Officers did indicate that the vehicle that the defendant was driving had a registration that expired in September of 2022. The state is going to recommend a $2,000 total surety, given the concern that we have for this defendant's danger to the community. Driving off of that manner is dangerous to the officers involved and other motorists on the road. We're going to ask for $1,500 on that fleeing and $500 for each of the other charges, making a total of $2,000. No alcohol, drugs, weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. McKay is 31 years old. He's a single father. He resides with his 9-year-old son, and he's gainfully employed at Harvest Roasting Company as a warehouse associate. He also worked at airport. He has completed GED successfully, and Your Honor, he has been very responsible to take care of his son. In this incident, I believe Razani Hope Stevenson can testify that about the car thing. But anyway, we would like to request for signature on bond as the pretrial services recommended. Signature on bond for jail. That's what we want as well. We
All right.
believe there was some kind of ID theft involved. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,000 for each count. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that signature bond. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the state.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. McKay. Who do we have next?
Position 11, Mr. Quinn.
Okay, and do we have an announcement on Ms. Curry? Will she not be brought? Is she going to be a medical reset or something today as well? Do we know? All right, well, we'll proceed with this position. Mr. Quinn, your case is 23 CR 001172Y. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass and 2 counts of battery with the offense date of July the 31st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Howard?
Quinn, 7 total. 2019 simple battery, first offender. 2019 robbery, simple battery. He's on first offender probation for that. 2020 trespass, no low. 2022 probation violation. That's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident did occur on July 31st, 2022. There are 2 victims in this case, 1 adult and 1 minor, with the initials of IF for the minor. The adult victim is Michelle Dixon, common spelling for both, I believe. In this incident, Your Honor, the parties were at Shireen McCaff's house celebrating her birthday. At that time, the defendant got drunk and started to get aggressive and violent towards other persons that were there at the party. Ms. Metcalf indicated that the defendant struck Miss Michelle Dixon in the mouth with a closed fist, causing a large knot on her top lip and several large cuts on her bottom lip. It's also indicated that the second victim, who is a juvenile, IF, the defendant struck her as well in her forehead, causing a large knot. In addition to that, Your Honor, the defendant slammed the minor victim on top of a table that belonged to Ms. Metcalf, which is the basis for the criminal trespass, given that as a result of that slam on the table, that table that belonged to Ms. Metcalf was broken. The state does have a concern in this case about the risk of reoffending, given that there was alcohol involved. The defendant knows these people and the defendant has a violent history. We do have some concern about the defendant's likelihood to respond positively to the legal process. This defendant has some probation violations in his history. Our office was in fact able to make contact with with some of the victims in the case. They spoke to Ms. Dixon, and she indicated that at one point they were dating, her and the defendant, but they were no longer dating at the time of this incident. And she stated that the defendant was in fact drunk and became violent with everyone at the party. She stated he punched her in the mouth, but she was not the one who called the police. She also stated that when they were in a relationship, he was violent towards her in the past. However, this was the worst incident. She stated that she did not know the other victim, IF, and we attempted to contact IF, the minor victim, or a representative for that victim, but we were not able to make contact. Given that, Your Honor, the state is going to be requesting a total $7,000 surety, $3,000 for each of the battery counts, and $1,000 for the criminal trespass. No further contact with any of the victims involved in this incident. Stay away from the incident location, which was 1507 Summit Place Drive in Sandy Springs, and where any of the other victims reside. 2 weeks anger management, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, no further violations of Georgia law and an ADET.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna sound for the victims, Ms. Dixon. At this time, I don't believe I see any parties. All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Queen is 23 years old, and he was born and raised here in Georgia, and he has been working at David Ramey's construction worker for about last 5 months. He graduated from high school successfully, and Your Honor, my client denies the allegation, especially about that incident with a little sister, IF. He just wanted to stop the confrontation that she was getting involved. And my client also denies the allegation against Michelle Dixon, and it was actually Shireen Metcalf was old roommate that he used to live with. Anyway, he's right now residing with his uncle. He has no objection to stay away from all these people involved in this incident. And also he has no objection to stay away either. I mean, no further contact Thank you. We would like to request for a signature on bond for definitely for criminal trespass. And yet, if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we ask for $500 good bond for each charge, so total $1,000 simple better charge. Good bond, thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the defendant's gonna receive a $3,500 surety bond, broken down 500 count one, 1,500 count two, and 1,500 count three. That should equal the total of the 3,500 surety. He is to stay away from the incident location on Summit Place and have no contact with any of the alleged victims in this case. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further.
Nothing further, your honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Quinn. That concludes your case.
Thank you.
All right, Your Honor, that's it for courtroom 2.
We don't have any announcement for position 4. Does anyone know
I
why?
know, she's at ACDC and we haven't have confirmation yet, but we're still waiting on the phone call from them.
Okay, she's been reset once. This is what, 48 hours? Is this the 48-hour mark? Is it possible for us to call South Annex to see where she might be?
Yes, we're actually calling now. We've been
Thank
calling
you.
much all day, but we'll give you an answer in a minute.
Thank you.
Write it down. Your Honor, they did find her and she's logging on right now, but she needs to have an interview.
Okay, we will be in a brief recess then until she logs on. Courtroom 2 can be excused.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
The number is 404-865-8122.
Okay, Ms.
But,
Thomas, do you want to give them a call to see if you can interview your client?
I'll give them a call.
Thank you. We'll be in a very brief recess. Ms. Thomas, please announce when you're ready to go forward.
Excuse me, Ms. Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
that number, I want to make sure I gave you the right number.
I have 404-865-8122.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Mhm. We're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
All right, I don't see, oh, it says that they may be over there. We're ready. All right, we're gonna proceed with the case of Miss Regina Curry. Miss Curry, your case is 23 CR 001143G. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of February the 27th of 2023. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney at this proceeding today. This particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this. Do you understand those rights, Ms. Curry, and how I'm conducting this hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Hart, can I have her history, please?
I don't have that one. I'm gonna defer to the state.
All right, we'll defer to Ms. Lewis. Ms. Lewis, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm showing 26 cycles. Some of them are somewhat remote. But in 2016, we have a battery, family violence, and a probation violation. 2017 probation violation, 2018 theft by shoplifting. These are all arrests, 2019 theft of services. 2019, she was convicted of the probation violation. She was also convicted of theft by shoplifting in 2019. 2021, she was convicted of probation violation. I have 2021 conviction of criminal trespass and terroristic threats. She has a host of criminal trespass violations, one in 2021, and I'm showing 3 in 2022, all from MARTA. 2022 arrest for possession and use of drug-related objects. 2 more criminal trespass arrests in 2022, and then a criminal intent to commit a misdemeanor arrest via MARTA in 2022. Your Honor, this incident occurred on the 27th of February at 30 Alabama Street Southwest, which is the 5 Points MARTA station. Officers were patrolling this station and located Curry sleeping on the concourse in the corner of the station. This officer was familiar with Curry and knows about her active permanent ban from all MARTA property, and she has suspensions dating back to 2019. Your Honor, this is a repeat habitual offender of trespassing against MARTA property. She's been issued several suspensions that she's violated each one, so much so that MARTA has since issued a permanent ban from all MARTA property. For this reason, the state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond to stay away from all MARTA property, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, nothing further.
Okay, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Curry is 32 years of age. She's a lifelong Georgia resident. She does have family residing here. She's also a mother of 2 children, a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and she also completed high school. Ms. Curry did express to me that she is currently unemployed. She does not have any financial assistance. She's not receiving any assistance from the government either, and that she has been unemployed for several months now. She says she is looking for employment, but to no avail currently. I'm going to be asking for a signature bond, given that this is a nonviolent offense. It's from MARTA. And if Ms. Curry is not eligible for a signature bond, a bond no more than $500, Ms. Curry is obviously not going to be able to afford no bonds. She did not express that she had any assistance from family or friends that will be able to help her make bonds. So essentially, any bond is going to be no bond for Ms. Curry. So I'm asking the court to at least grant her signature bonds or grant her a bond no more than $500.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through the jail. She must comply with all MARTA bans, and she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Curry. I believe that concludes the entire calendar. Ms. Bridgewater, will you review it for me?
Thank you for your patience, everybody.
Thank you for logging on. We appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ms. Bridgewater, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I'm just raring to go and y'all not hearing anything. Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is March the 14th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 2 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 total good bond. Position number 3 also going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 4 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 5, SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 6, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 7, SAP calendar with a $1,500 good bond. Position 8, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 9, SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 10, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 11 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,500 good bond. And position 12, SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise? Great.
Hearing none, we'll be
Wonderful.
in recess until tomorrow's STA calendar. Everyone
All
take care. Have a good day.
All right.
Everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.